So today I'm going to talk about the conditional tense in Spanish. This tense is used to say when something would happen. Typically it talks about the future, but it can also talk about the past. It really depends on how you're using it. But essentially the literal translation is would plus the word that you are using. Some examples of this are should, debería, which is just, it exactly means should, podría, which exactly means could. So by adding this to the infinitive, you change the meaning of the word. If you use a normal word like bailar, to dance, it would be bailaría, and that would be would dance. So those are a few examples of how that works. If you have any questions on what the conditional tense is, let me know, and I can create a separate video explaining what the conditional tense means as well, if you would like that. To form the conditional tense, it is very, very easy. It's easier than most of the tenses you may have already learned up to this point. You form it just like you form the future tense, if you know how to do that. If you'd like to learn how to conjugate in the future tense, we have a video about that as well. But so what you do is you just take the entire infinitive of whatever verb you would like to use and add the appropriate ending, depending on the pronoun. If you don't know how to conjugate verbs and you don't know what this chart means, you should check out the conjugation video and Spanish pronoun video. It's all in one video, Spanish pronoun conjugation video. But these are the endings. They're very simple. They're very similar to the imperfect endings for the IR and ER words, so you may have already memorized them, and you literally just throw them on to the end of the normal word in most circumstances. Here are a few examples. So for the word hablar, to talk, yo hablaría, I would talk. Tú hablarías, you would talk. Comer, to eat. Nosotros comeríamos, we would eat. Ustedes comerían, you would eat. So abrir, that means to open. And so vosotros abriríais, sorry, that was really bad pronunciation. Vosotros abriríais. That means you all would open. Él abriría. He would open. So, like with many tenses and many things in English, Spanish has a lot of irregulars as well. Not quite as many as English does, but there are a few. The good news about this is that once you know about these irregulars for the conditional and the future tense, you can memorize them, and they're pretty much the only thing that's irregular in these two tenses. So, many verbs use replacement stems that are not the infinitive, because if you would use the infinitive, it would sound really weird and it wouldn't flow together, and Spanish is really flowy and sounds really pretty, and so it wouldn't have made sense if you just used the normal infinitive. These verbs are still conjugated the same way. So that's really nice. You just, once again, you take the stem, instead of just the infinitive, you take the stem instead, and you just add the same endings. So that's the only difference, is that you have to remember to use the new stems instead of the infinitives. So here's your list of infinitives that you use different stems for. So caber is cabra, haber is abra, poder is podra, querer is quer, saber is sabra, poner is pondra, salir is saldrá, tener is tendrá, valer is valdrá, venir is vendrá, decir is dir, and hacer is har. So once you memorize these, you will have these to work with, and then you just add the appropriate endings to make an actual word. So these are not actually words. These are not words at all. These are just the replacement infinitive part of the future and the conditional tense, just how you form it. So you will never write just this unless you're being quizzed on what the stem is. But if you're writing a sentence in Spanish, you will never see any of these words by themselves because they're not really words. They're just a part of a word. So it'd be great if you could write this down, memorize this, really help you out. Okay, so here's a practice. Take the following infinitives and turn them into the conditional tense with the appropriate pronouns. I am going to reveal the answers in just a moment, so you should pause the video here, write these down, and see if you can get them correct. Have you paused the video? Okay, I'm going to show you the answers now. Okay, so for hablar in the yo form, it is hablaría. You just add the new ending directly onto the infinitive. For estudiar in the nosotros form, it's estudiaríamos. For pintar, to paint, this is to talk, to study. Pintar in the ellos form is pintarían. So they would paint. Caber in the el form would be cabría. So that means he would fit. Vivir in the tu form would be vivirías, and that means you would live. Hacer in the vosotros, haríais. Don't forget, this has a different stem, just like caber had a different stem. And this one's really unusual. This is something you really have to look back at and memorize. The ar instead of hacer. It doesn't really look like it works, but that's how it is written and pronounced. So that means you all would do. Querer in the yo form is quería. I can't roll my R's, but you would roll your R with this word, and that means that I would want. Salir, las chicas, so that would be the ellos or ellas form. So don't forget, it has a different stem here, so it's saldrían, and that means they would go, or the girls would go. Comer, nadie, this is supposed to be kind of a trick. Nadie would be just like él or ella, so you would use that form, so comería. And you just add the normal infinitive with comer there. So no one would eat. Saber in the nosotros is sabríamos, and that has an irregular form there, so make sure you caught that. We would know. Tener in the vosotros, tendríais. So that one has an irregular stem again, and there you go. Okay. And it means that you all would have. Deber in the ella form is debería, and that means she should. Poder in the tu form is podrías, which means you could. Because, with these two, it wouldn't really make sense to say, like, you would can. That doesn't make sense. So it would be you could in English. If you'd like more practices, go on to the studyspanish.com/verbs/lessons/conditional.htm, and this is all one word, Study Spanish. Type this whole thing in all together, and they have practice quizzes on there that you can use, and continue making sure that you are learning the conditional tense. Good luck, and I hope this helped you learn Spanish.